I am Trevor Ashcraft, and this is my case study for Module 15. Let's begin with the analysis and the identification of the problem. What we know about the demographics of Truman Elementary School is that it serves grades pre-K through 8. There are 3 classes per grade, and there's 1 preschool. It is in a suburban community, and it is one of 4 K-8 elementary schools. There are also 2 additional K-4 elementary schools, but it is the largest with a population of 700 students, 15% of which are on free and reduced, and 5% are learning English as a second language. The principal was promoted from within the district, but came from another school. So what we don't know is whether he was from an elementary school or from a middle school or a high school. Some of the perceptions within the district include frustration over poor reading performance. There's been a notable regression from year to year, and the parents are very concerned about these scores. So they have been calling for change and want the principal to come and meet with them at their next PTO meeting. The principal has also conducted observations which have been compared with that of the instructional coach, and they are very similar. What the parents are most concerned about is that the teachers aren't teaching reading strategies anymore, and that they really aren't focusing on spelling, so there's no feedback that's being given. The classroom observations noted that reading instruction is only averaging about an hour a day. Most of this is whole group, so there's very little differentiation. The students are choral reading, or the teacher is reading to them and they're performing a worksheet, which is just not best practice. It's not a current trend anymore, and it's not what's best for kids. Spelling is occurring within the basal instruction, so data is not really being used to drive individual instruction. And very few classes are instructing their students on how to use some decoding strategies when they come to unknown words. Some of the additional needs that we need to consider are the reading program that's currently being used. How are the students being progress monitored? Is there a data collection system, a data warehouse, or do the teachers just not understand how to use it? It's also going to be important to know whether the staff are planning individually or collaboratively. We know that there's tons of research over student collaboration and how that helps to push them to excel. This isn't the same for staff. If we want them to excel in their teaching, they should be learning from their peers as well. And then what professional development have the teachers received concerning reading instruction? Also, we'll want to take into consideration the staff experience and the mindset of the teachers when it comes to learning a new program. If we are working in a fixed mindset, this is going to be a very big struggle for our teachers. Additionally, what are the teachers' receptions to a grant opportunity? The problem is pretty simple. Reading instruction just isn't challenging our students to develop or progress. This has been pretty evidenced by the students' regression and their overall lack of ability to spell and employ some of those reading strategies so that they can decode unknown words. A few concerns that might want to take into consideration that could be having an impact on this would be the ELA schedule, professional development opportunities for the teachers, and differentiation. So let's look at the plan. The first step is going to be to meet with the administrators from some other schools. It's important to compare data with other schools and discuss those perceptions so that we can get a better understanding of whether our issue is going to be solely student learning, or if that's being impacted by demographics or perceptions. By working with some other schools, we can also determine teacher mentorships and observations. When we are teaching our students, it's vital that we provide them with a model, and that's no different when we are looking to improve our teaching. Step 2 is going to be perceptions. We need to continue to collect and develop perception surveys from our students, parents, and community so that they know that we truly understand and value their input and how we can grow and change. With our staff, however, it's going to be important that we make this a little more personal by meeting with them so that we can hear and discuss their perceptions and we can focus on what's best for our kids. During that time, we can also share the grant opportunity that we have been presented with so that we can see if there's any interest in being on that committee. To further work with our community, we could have a reading night with the parents, showing them that we understand and we're employing the reading strategies for their students, but also some of the things that they can be working on with their students at home that will further assist in those efforts. By continuously going to community and PTO meetings, the principal is bridging that relationship and showing that maintaining positive interactions is very important. And by sending home monthly progress reports, we're showing to the parents that student learning is important to us. Step 3 is going to be the grant opportunity. By forming a committee to write the grant, they can find some research-based programs that we can implement in the school, such as balanced literacy, Jan Richardson's Next Step to Guided Reading, or even the Fontes and Pinnell leveled literacy interventions. Step 4 is going to be our data collection. If there's not already a data warehouse in place, then we need to find one and provide teachers with training so that they can understand how to use it and the impact that that will have on their instruction. Step 5 is going to be data analysis teams. By giving our teachers time to meet in PLCs, we are showing them that we truly value data and the performance of the students and their overall teaching instruction. During these times, we can discuss instruction schedules. There's currently only 60 minutes for ELA, and we really need to increase that to about 120. ELA is really great for bringing in some cross-curricular activities through social studies and science, so we're really not going to lose any time for those other things. But a suggested schedule can include 30 minutes of whole group lesson or activity where teachers can work on phonics, some of those spelling skills that the parents are worried about, writing or reading activities like in inferences, predictions, summarization. And then having 45 minutes for guided reading in centers will allow students to independently practice some of those skills, as well as provide some time for independent reading. It's recently been shown that it's very important for students to be reading independently so that they can grow individually. And then having readers and writers workshop for 30 minutes and 15 minutes for either a read aloud or book previews so that we are exposing students to additional options that they can read individually. And the final step is going to be professional development in terms of relationship building as well as using data to drive instruction. Some additional strategies to consider will be a major shift in reading. We want to get our students to enjoy reading again. This can be done through student-made book commercials that they share with their peers, bulletin boards, with the copies of book covers on them that have been read throughout the year, and even providing teachers with thematic text sets that are based on individual interests so that they can quickly provide additional suggestions to their students of books to read in their interest areas. Having a class graph to track the amount that they've read, or even bringing in parent and community members as mystery readers shows that we truly value their reading lives as individual students. And then having teachers confer with students on independent reading. It's also going to be important to consider the assessments that we're using and how we use that to drive our instruction. So the grant committee will really be looking at 3 areas. The current trends of student poverty level and achievement history, as well as conducting an analysis of the instructional programs that we have that are showing our student progress. Then finding research-based programs that we could be implementing and the budgetary needs by showing how we would apportion out the grant over the 3 years and then sustain it after the conclusion. So let's look at the resolutions. We'll know that the problem is really resolved when students are loving reading, and we will know that because it will be evidenced by sharing their reading experiences and making recommendations to their peers. The teachers will have a very positive relationship with their students because this yields higher student engagement, and instruction will be individualized. We can see this as teachers are conferring about independent reading. Finally, guided reading groups will be working on some of those independent skills that parents are concerned. Some of our other areas that we will notice will be individualized instruction, higher quality reading programs, and a sense of community. So let's debrief a bit. During this case study, I was thinking that parents are extremely invested in the lives of their students and their academic success, as is the district, evidenced by the instructional coaches. This is just a very realistic plan that will increase the love of reading and therefore the performance of the students. I was also feeling that we are doing a disservice to our students if we aren't providing them with the best instruction, but I'm very grateful that we have this grant opportunity to improve the service that we're giving to our students. I really value our students and our teachers, the students' academic success, the students' perception of reading, and the teachers' feeling of support, which they will get by knowing that we truly value their perceptions and their input. Some things that will be unresolved and need further investigation. Did Truman Elementary receive the grant? What are parent perceptions of the changes? How do the students respond to the implemented changes, and how has the culture of the school been impacted? Finally, is the data warehouse effective, or how can it be improved? These are some of the results that we will see and some of the steps that we will need to take if those don't occur. So category 5 is really about educational leader effectiveness in communication. It's important that we share the message with our community. I feel that this plan is promoting the success of every student within the community. We are really valuing individualization, and we need to share that with the community so that they can see that and understand as well. The community perceptions will be valued through their surveys and their conversations, as well as presenting to PTO and becoming more involved. That's going to show that we really care about their input and that they are important to us, as well as our students. The students will know that we are very passionate about their success since we will be adopting some research-based instructions and strategies. This shows that we are working as educators to improve ourselves just the way that we hope that they are working to improve themselves. By providing individual student conferences and individualized instruction that's really driven by data, this shows that we care about them on a personal level. This is going to promote personal feelings positively in better relationships with our students. And finally, within our staff. By bridging the gaps in instruction and practices, we are understanding the implications of the data so we can improve that student understanding. By showing our staff that we truly value our student success and that we are supporting them in providing the professional development that they need and hoping that they can grow as professionals, hopefully they will see that we truly value them as well.